Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a channel member of Nathan Oakley 1980. If you'd like to support the channel, you can also smash the super chat, PayPal link, or crypto in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, we are going to be shouting out all of them on the pre-shows for the Uncut and After Show. So a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As The Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Owen Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, Godrockin, Henrik86, Jeranism, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Nagara, Missouri Bear, Naibai, Tar Craig, Reinhardt, Rene, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic936, Texas Mike, The Flat Earth Sun Moon Zodiac Clock App, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker, Tom Herkins, and Windrider. So thank you very much indeed to all of my patrons. Now we are joined by 10th Man and Righteous Force in G+, so I'll raise the mic on them. How are you both doing?
Wonderful.
Doing good. Good morning.
Very good indeed. Got a whole load of new members that I need to shout out on the live show. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
Bunch of them that have joined. I think, fortunately for me, when between live shows, anybody who joins as a member, it sort of keeps track of them in the next live chat, if that makes sense. At the top of the live chat, when I go to the when I scheduled the show, I was like, oh right, I've got a couple of new members, and then I looked down the list and I was like, oh no, I've got 5 or 6 new members, and they're all just there in that list where it would normally display super chats. Well, now at the beginning of the show, I can see who's joined since the last show, which is great because it means I can shout out new members, which is precisely what I've said I'll do. It was one of the things I've said I'll do if you become a member. There might be other shout outs in the live shows as well, but certainly in the pre-shows I've said I'll shout out Patreons, and then in the live shows new members.
Gotcha.
So I rushed to get this. The intro is a little bit flustered because 10th Man was about to launch into his discussions yesterday with Quantum Erased, and he's like, I don't want to steal his thunder. And it's like, well, don't worry, you'll be summarising this after the fact anyway, because this is the Uncut and After Show. It comes out after the live show, as weird as that sounds. So don't worry, just fill us in, feel natural, even though you've just heard me do the intro and all that.
You're telling me the Terminator will be far enough away not to get to me, since this will be aired later.
Well, I just don't think it'll matter. If anything, it'll assist his point, because his point will come after you've hopefully summarised it, if it's something that he's going to discuss on today's show, but also after it's gone out to anybody at all anyway, because the live show will have gone out, even though it's in the future for us now.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, basically, it was off of his Saturday Ballbusters with Ben. I believe the interview with Ben, Taboo Conspiracy, and he put something together from that presentation. And I'll just give the bullet points. Basically, the observer's height and the distance that a person could see according to their globe calculator. So you'll have to wait for the rest. It is fantastic. But, I mean, it's on that presentation anyway, but the way QE puts it together is really nice.
That was brief.
Well, yeah, I got to be brief. It's not my show.
Things are starting to get quite complicated on your introductions on the after show, Nathan.
Why? What do you mean?
It just seems like it's very rough getting into the, I don't know, all these names now joining and everything, but I don't know. I'm just trying to find a way to sneak in here and slither through the doorway of this conversation, actually, and that was the best excuse I could come up with.
Fair enough. No, that's fine. It was convoluted because I was in a rush to get the show on, because 10th man was like, oh, maybe I'll start this discussion about a conversation that's absolutely relevant to today's show. So I'm like, oh, get it done. But while I was doing it, I'm like, oh, I should have thought about incorporating in the fact that you can join as a member on the channel now. So I sort of slipped that in half-heartedly during the intro. It's just me being rushed. But I don't mind. If there's a good conversation to be had, I'll rush. Go ahead, Pillbox.
I don't know if you guys know about the 24/7 Discord. By the way, shout out to Bible Literalist Paula, the #1 channel on the plane of existence. There was a very interesting show last night. I think it was about 27 hours long on 24/7 Flat Earth Discord. And man, what an amazing events have happened yesterday. There was a big breakthrough in the consciousness of understanding, for lack of a better term. And I'm going to offer a $1,000 reward to anybody who finds an example in reality of adaptation, which is something they teach to children in school, as everybody in this chat knows right now. I won't even have to ask. Adaptation is taught that animals have to adapt or they don't survive in the natural environment. And if anybody can give me one example of that, I'll give them $1,000, Nathan. I won't even mention the word evolution. We don't have to go there. I don't have to. I'll just ask for adaptation.
Can you be more precise with what adaptation you will accept?
The precise thing that they teach to children in school is that adaptation happens in nature or things die. So they're talking that it's a genetic adaptation. They're saying things have to adapt in nature genetically or they die. And that's what they teach in school to these children. They even say, well, you understand things have to adapt or they die, right? Well, evolution just goes beyond that. And there's so many different ways to state this. And there's actually 1,000 different questions, and all going back to the same thing, that something has to either have an ability to adapt or it dies. And I just want one example of it.
Does the adaptation involve some kind of change that is natural for environment, or something genetically that is unseen and is not natural? I'm trying to figure out exactly the meaning of adaptation you'll accept.
That man is gunning for the money already.
Well,
maybe if I give you the opposite, right? So I would assert that there is no pre-state to something like the eye. You're not going to find an example of an eye before it's inherently perfect. You're going to find no example that shows one that's just before being capable of seeing, and then it just needed one more stage of adaptation to reach what we actually have now in all instances, which is eyes that are absolutely perfect for their set task. Now, you're not going to find one that's not quite perfect because it hasn't adapted yet to be perfect for its environment. They're all perfect. So what Pillbox is asking for is one of the examples of an eyeball that's going to be perfect when it adapts itself. Yeah, that's what he's asking for. He'll never get it.
It's actually...
That's why he knows his $1,000 is 100% safe with this request. And I don't blame him, because you won't get what he's asking people to provide for that $1,000. No one will ever give him that, ever.
You may as well offer up 100 grand.
Well, I think it's a little bit more simple than that. See, I'm not even asking for a change. I'm not even asking for. I mean, I'm gonna take all the rules off the table. There are no rules. It could be you could use a change in environment if you want, or not a change. You can use a change in the DNA of an organism, or you can even use mutation or non-mutation. I just want one example of something adapting to survive.
You're saying the exact same thing that I've said, but in slightly different words, which is to say that you want the... Obviously, if my eye example's different, it's going to have different DNA. And you're saying, well, you can justify it by the data structure being different for this pre-adaptation of this perfect example I've given in the eyeball, right?
I'm saying, well, that's the thing, is that that's actually going past it. That's a form of evolution. If we were going to gaining a new feature, I'm not even asking for evolution. I'm asking for an example of something surviving and obviously adapting, where if it didn't adapt, it would have died. Not even changing at all. Tigers staying kitties, dogs staying wolves, you name it, hawks staying hawks. The same animal is going to stay the same animal. There's not going to be any new features gained. The animal is simply, or the human being is simply going to be able to survive, where if it didn't adapt, it would have died. And this is the reason why, is because this is what they teach to children at a very young age. This is the kindergarten age when they teach them that things have to adapt or they die. And I just want one example of it.
You won't get one.
Why? Oh, this is interesting because this is what they teach at the lowest levels about evolution without using the word evolution. This is the precursor to evolution. Things have to adapt or they die. And this is what every evolutionist will literally completely use also on the introduction of a conversation of the subject to anybody who doesn't believe in evolution. They'll say, well, you believe in adaptation, right? And they'll say, well, if it doesn't adapt, it'll die. That's 90% of these conversations start off right there. They do this literally in kindergarten to children. And now I'm wondering why, and why has nobody been asking for this question? What's an example of these things adapting or they're going to die?
It's a repackaging of an old question of asking to see the missing link, which they'll fake.
Yeah, and to your point, they teach a lot more things than just this to kindergartners, children that aren't true, i.e., the globe.
That's correct, 10th man. But this is the heart. You see, 99.9, and I'm making up statistics, obviously. The vast majority of the heliocentric believers, what they're doing here is that they're using the heliocentric model to protect their true belief, their heart, which is the evolution, pseudoscience, fictitious, religious, whatever that is, like quantum eraser says, paradigm. That's what they're actually protecting here. They do love their Spaceballs religion, but that's not their savior. Evolution is their savior. So everything is about protecting that evolutionary heart. Their foundation is evolution.
I don't think
And
you're right.
literally it starts right here with things adapt.
I don't think you're right. I think it's ability to have no accountability. So in a nihilistic world of heliocentrism and an endless nothing with kind of no purpose, that's appealing if you've got a lot of skeletons in your closet. And there's even if it's at a subconscious level, there's a recognition that you may suddenly be accountable to a higher power upon recognition of the heliocentric deception. So your nihilistic outlook has to be relinquished if there's a potential judgment waiting for you, or a creator, to put it more bluntly. Well, that, like I say, may not be verbalized in the front of people's mind, whatever analogy you want, but at a subconscious level, I think most, if not all, people will recognize that upon realization that no, we can't possibly be in an endless soup of nothing, with things just developing from a soup of nothing and created out of nothing. All that kind of nonsense, once that's gone, you go, well, where does it all begin? And like many of the decent scientists, actual scientists, some that are out there, they'll say, yeah, at the bottom of that cup, you've got a creator, a creation. So yeah, you might want an atheist outlook initially in life, and that might lead you to do things that you might not have ought to have done. And the denial and the ability to think, it doesn't matter, it's all for nothing. It's just a whole soup of endless nothingness. That's quite appealing if you want to forget something horrible you've done, right?
That's exactly 100% nailing it on the head there. Hammering the nail on the head. It's because if, as I recall, reading Darwin's own writings, and the other evolutionists to follow, it was the long war against God that they were really fighting. Darwin's family was super, super controlling, very religious, and he just wanted to have the death of God. And so in his writings, and I'll try to find some over the week here to share, hey, I just got to make sure that I put God to death. I cannot have a God and a judgment in my life. I'm summarizing basically what they all are doing and what they have written themselves. So, this is what the scripture also teaches in Romans, that the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So as a human being, even before I became a Christian, I knew there was a creator. I just didn't know who he was. And I knew what right and wrong was due to my conscious understanding at those different ages. And I have to really fight to kill those inner thoughts if I'm going to put God to death and pave a highway where I can just go do anything I want without any kind of repercussion of any kind. And this is what evolution is all about at the bottom line, because as you quote all the people who are the fathers of evolution, it was always a war against God, and it's in their own writing.
This is a Godzilla that's in the back pocket of all of us, and we never knew it. This is a monster that's of proportions I can't even talk about, because literally the foundation of their belief system is based and literally starts with the seed of things adapt, don't they? And I realized this last night and the night before, and this has been gaining. I've been talking about this for about 6 months. And last night, many space monkeys were going after this, of course, trying to take the bait. And, I'm not going to mention any names. There are plenty of them, and they will again. But whenever there's a case of emergency to break glass, this is going to be brought up, and you're going to be shocked at how many people are going to get very angry at this. There was one intelligent, I know I'm going to clip out for a second, so if I just give me a couple more seconds here. There was one gentleman last night that heard it, and it said to me, yeah, I thought as soon as I heard you say that, I thought surely I can come up with an explanation or an idea or an example to show you adaptation. But once we started getting into it, I realized, wow, there's a serious problem here. And this is a truther who knows the earth is flat and is known for a while. So even people that are really awake compared to the normie of the world are still greatly deceived by this one concept. And this is literally the seed planted into us as children in the kindergarten age. So it is a really interesting deception to look into.
Aye, it is.
I can't wait to hear, the Brendas and the other trolls that come on here, because eventually that subject's going to swing. Once in a while, it swings back and forth. It's not too often the evolution discussion gets brought up. But when they bring up evolution, I'm just going to say, you know what? I don't even need to talk about evolution. Just show me one example of adaptation where something would have died otherwise. And they will surely have an answer for you. They will absolutely. Oh, that's easy, and it is going to be very interesting. Then, and for the 2020 year, January 2nd. Look at that.
Okay, I got one for you. A pack of wolves with a mother with some baby wolves get covered in an avalanche. One baby wolf survives, finds another species whose female version is pregnant and gets milk from that and survives by adapting to the milk of another species.
That's not adaptation. That's survival. That's not a genetic change or a DNA change between the one that died and the one that didn't. They both basically got the same DNA makeup.
You mean I can't
milk
milk
would be the-
$1,000 from him now?
You know what's funny? What's funny?
No.
Nathan's
Oh,
right.
sorry, hold on,
Nathan's
Bill
right. Watch this though.
Just 1 second, Bill Box.
Oh.
No, you can't have a grand off him 10th, man. That was absolutely pathetic. This is what happens, you see, when you offer up a grand.
But watch this.
Probably...
What's amazing here is Nathan. Well, watch this though. Nathan's right, but Nathan is still almost overcomplicating it in a way. He's so used to the evolutionary paradigm conversation. We're not even there. We're just talking about adaptation. So even though Nathan's right, he's still going to, well, there's no change, or there's new DNA, or there's no new, you name it. We're still using that evolutionary concept.
You're just spoiling for a fight, Bill
here
Box.
is just an example of adaptation.
You're just spoiling for an argument, I can tell. But no, you said, I would happily accept if they showed a change in DNA. And I said, yeah, obviously the pre-state of my eyeball example would have different DNA. Well, I can dumb it down if you want and say, show me the giraffe with a shorter neck that died because it couldn't reach an apple off a tree. Yeah, that's what you're saying, right? But, you know, okay, sorry if my eyeball
No, I'm saying
complicated
there
example
could
was
be
too
a
much
change
for you.
or not a change. I'm just saying the main point here is the word adaptation. So there could be a change in environment, a change or not a change in DNA, or a mutation or not a mutation. I'm saying there's no rules, Nathan. Just an example of adaptation is requested. That is all.
Fair enough. Hey, Ranty, how you doing?
Doing good, thank you. How's everybody?
Very good. Quite excited to have you on today. Not that it's not always exciting to have you, Ranty.
I've got
Hey,
some...
Ranty.
Hiya, you're right. I've got a little presentation to do.
Oh, I understand.
I think we can adapt to that.
I think we can evolve to work it into the show.
Good stuff.
Oh, and just be careful, guys. There's a lot of fake flat earthers pretending to be flat earthers that are actually globers. Fenris Wolf actually turned out to be the porn bomber himself, Tim Osmond. So be careful who you talk to. And yeah, that guy was caught with kiddie porn in 2017 and was reported to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. So yeah.
Doesn't surprise me. The arguments died. They have to come our way to have any credibility, and they're still bad to the bone.
That said, I don't care. So, regardless of how this is going to come across to people, or people's illegal porn habits,
It's for everybody but you, Nathan.
What I mean by that is I don't care. I've said this example, I'll take it away from what you've said and who you've said it about, and say if a murderer puts forth a good argument from jail, then the argument is what we will pay attention to, as opposed to critiquing him based on his credibility or his porn habits in this instance. So that's all I'm ever interested
That's
in.
not. I know that's not what happened though. He's not pretending. He's not being a globe earther anymore. He's pretending to be a flat earther, and it's the opposite. That's the point. It's a real pathetic thing when it happens.
Yeah,
It completely ruins the show sometimes.
Yeah, that's fine. That bit I am interested in.
Yep. Everybody's probably going to take a bit differently, but that's just a warning because people do want to know the truth, and that's why I give it to them.
Right, just so everyone's clear, when Ranty's doing his presentation, please leave all questions to the end.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to get out of here, Nathan. Elijah, nice to see you again, sir. I'm sure you had fun yesterday. 10th man, thanks for putting up with me, and
no, you're fine.
I will
Great.
see you guys
Good to have
later.
you.
Always a pleasure, Pillbox.
All right, Pillbox.
God bless you guys. Blood always finds its level.
Yep. Good job.
Hard-hitting departure. Blood always finds its level. Holy moly.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Well, blood always finds its level. I don't think he said it in vain. Do you?
Not true.
Well, how about artery?
Not well. What about? I don't know. I think it was the year 2000. A couple of years after I've moved in here, I fitted a bathroom, and right at the end of the process, all the tiles were laid, the bath was fitted, all the plumbing was in, sink, toilet, you name it's done. The last thing that faced me was a bath panel. And what I did was shave this slightly oversized bath panel down with a more than blunt Stanley knife and went through my wrist. I went, psh, and it went, BOW! Very far, all over everything. Right? Now, that blood did not find its level. It stuck to what it stuck to and congealed. That's what it does. Though no, blood doesn't find its level. It'll often just stick where it is and congealed. But there we go. As gross as that is, just glad this isn't the pre-show, not in the main live show. There we go.
You ruiner!
Say again?
So you ruiner?
I still can't make out what you're saying. Try that once more.
He said you're a ruiner.
Ruiner?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think that's what he said.
Well, that event happened on, I think, Christmas Eve. So, by coincidence, I was working on a bathroom on Christmas Eve. That's just the way things go sometimes. Now, I obviously called an ambulance, because I'm holding onto my wrist, and dialed them with my nose. And they turned up, and they were very sympathetic, the ambulance crew, because there's building materials everywhere, there's bags of sand, there's shit everywhere. You can imagine it looked like the place had had a bomb hit it, because you're clearing out your bathroom. Anyway, so they're very sympathetic. They dumped me off at the hospital, And then I'm just a guy with an open vein on Christmas Eve, right? And the ambulance staff didn't tell anybody. Oh, no, it's a building accident. I'm just a guy with a vein that's open in the most haphazard way. It was very untidy. You know, it's not like I'd sat there and opened up a vein. I'd be a lot more neat about it. But they didn't know that. They just thought it was a botched suicide. So they're like very brutal with me. Now, I was going out with a nurse at the time, and I was like, how come they were so brutal? And they were like, they're there on Christmas Eve. They basically despise you, you know, and you're there wasting their time as a cry for help. I'm like, it's a building accident. Don't cry for help. And they're like, yeah, they didn't know that, though, so that's why they sewed you up in such a rough manner. And I've still got a horrendous scar there from when they sewed me up so badly because they didn't give a shit. They're on Christmas Eve, right? So they were quite horrible. Wasn't a pleasant experience. Had the ambulance crew have just said, yes, this is somebody who's trying to fit a bath panel and had an accident, I think I'd have got a...
That's
probably,
why.
Go on.
That's why it's good to not judge.
Good to what? Not what?
To not judge. To not judge.
Well, you can't blame. It could have been. I was about to say before you said that it could have been the case that had they been told by the ambulance staff, they'd have been equally as unsympathetic purely because they were there on Christmas Eve and would rather be with their family than with anybody. I don't necessarily know that, but that's the way I read it after speaking to the nurse that I was going out with at the time. He was like, "Yeah, they didn't like you." What? It might be that they just didn't like anybody on Christmas Eve because they were working. Fun times.
Well, I got to say, Nathan, this Christmas and New Year's, I've got to thank you because the show, in fact, the housekeeping questions did take center stage. On our New Year's, you know, when we get together, we always seem to get together around the end of the year, our families, and I can definitely say I did plant many seeds, and I was just whenever I was, batting out the questions, I was met with nothing but just starry-eyed gazes and cluelessness, as opposed to, say, 3 years ago when my flat Earth arguments were very weak. I got to say thank you for just keeping the show going and giving me the ammunition necessary in order to not necessarily convince, but just, like I said, plant seeds in people's minds and get them questioning. Especially the people close to me. So, again, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification or join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, before I do shout out all of the current members on the G Plus and Discord, I'm going to do a shout out to all of the new members who've just joined. So a massive shout out to Ninja Man, who's our latest penguin, I believe. Does it say? It doesn't actually say on this particular list. Oh, it does, yes, penguin. Vlad on Flat Earth, another penguin. Welcome to you as well. Also, All People, Free People, who's joined as a lion. Rawr. So, very warm welcome to you as well. Pilton Pop, very good to have you. And last but by no means least, but no, Pilton Pop's upgraded to a hyena. Well, good to hear. And also Stuart Swinterton, who's joined as a penguin also. So a massive shout out of appreciation to all of the new members. As I say, we are joined by a lineup of people in both Discord and G+. So first and foremost, a welcome to Righteous Force, Ranty Flat Earth, and 10th Man in G+. Good to have you.
Hey.
Good morning.
Howdy.
Not entirely sure how the mute button situation is in Discord, but a welcome one and all in Discord. Hopefully a few of you are off mute.
Hello, top of the morning to you.
Ah, yes, you are. Somebody else has done that. Thank you very much, whoever is on the ball in the Discord server, not me. And hello, Arwin. Good to have you too.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from Hermosa Beach.
Not at all.
Yes. Not from Morocco.
Excellent. Who said yes?
Timmy Osman.
Billison.
What was that?
Tell us all about it.
Alrighty, well, doing observations out at the Great Salt Lake, you can definitely see that the Earth is curved.
Tell us more. What are you seeing exactly? What's curving?
The flats.
Well, the ground seems to be curving as the buildings are being obstructed by very large.
Sorry, seems to be curving because buildings are obstructed.
Indeed. Yes, sir.
And how do you confirm that the obstruction is this claimed Earth curve? How have you validated that?
By many observations. Many observations that confirm it. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I heard that. Yeah, you've made observations. How have you validated that this obstruction is Earth curve? How have you validated that? Not the observations. We heard that bit.
Well, going over the Bonneville salt flats with two different GPS units with Jesse Kozlowski, we actually calculated the circumference, diameter, and radius of the Earth.
That's not what I asked. How did you confirm that it was Earth
That
curve
data.
that you were observing? How did you validate that?
Using that data, we actually tested it with my observations, and they seem to match up really well. It's also been modeled on Walter Bislin's website.
That's just assuming an R value. Walter Bislin's calculator begs the question. So the observation.
Getting a bit of echo.
Hold on, Ranty. I'm still not getting it. You'll have to explain it better. What exactly did you observe? You're saying an obstruction, and I'm saying how did you validate that obstruction as Earth curve?
Well, you first off said that I assumed R. Now, as I said,
Walter Bislin assumed R.
$20,000.
No, I didn't say
Oh,
that.
go
I said
ahead.
Walter Bislin assumed
Go
R.
ahead.
Walter Bislin's calculator assumes R. That's what I said.
And I said that I tested R. Did I not?
No, you said you measured it by way of GPS. Global positioning system? Well, that's begging the question, so let's just skirt past that and get back to your original assertion that you observed Earth curve. Any signs of Earth curve? Yeah, I observed it. Now tell us about the observation. You've said something's obscuring something, and according to you, that's Earth curve. And I want to know how you validated it as Earth curve. It's a simple question. It's the same question. What's wrong? What's the problem here?
Well, since you're asking again, I'll answer it again, I suppose. I've done it many different times. I've actually done it even with some observations that I haven't even shown online yet. So I've done it through many different observations. Now, if you have a different methodology that I should use, please let me know.
Done what? What have you done to validate your Earth curve obstruction? What is it that's validating it as Earth curve? You haven't told us. Just keep saying I've done observations. Yeah, we got that. Now I'm asking for what validated it as Earth curve, and we're not getting anywhere anytime soon, are we? Just the same shit repeated. With me repeating the question that you're not answering? What's validating it as Earth curve?
As I said before, we went across the Bonneville Salt Flats, 37 miles.
We heard.
XYZ Cartesian coordinates.
Yeah, we heard.
Go ahead. Interrupt, sir. Go ahead.
We heard. You're repeating yourself. What's validating the obstruction as Earth curve?
That it matches the Bonneville Salt Flats experiment.
Flats. Salt flats. Sorry, this is a contradiction in terms. Matching Earth curve with flats? This is a contradiction in terms.
Is that all you have, sir? I do not need to repeat myself again. Go ahead to the second question. Thank you.
Well, no, I'm still not getting why you think that you've validated an obstruction as Earth curve.
You're never going to get it. Go ahead.
Well, you haven't explained it, Arwin. You haven't explained it yet.
I think I've explained it, and people who have ears to hear can hear it.
Well, okay. No, you think you have? You think that's a win, do you?
Next question, please, sir.
What do you mean next question? You think this obstruction observed at the Bonneville Salt Flats is Earth curve. Now, you think that, and I'm asking how it's been validated, and you're saying, well, I'll repeat that I've gone to the Salt Flats and used GPS and made observations. That doesn't validate that it's Earth curve you've observed, and you want to move on. Well, why?
Well, because you're actually not listening, because I said that I observed Earth curve at the Great Salt Lake, not Bonneville Salt Flats. Next question, please,
You observed Earth curve, so you assumed that you were observing Earth curve in this obstruction you've detailed by observation. That's an assumption of Earth curve, then, isn't it?
I can see a lighthouse because it's there, right?
Earth curve. You have assumed it. I went out, looked, and saw Earth curve. So the only validation is that you've assumed what you're seeing in this obstruction is Earth curve? That's your assumption, mate. Because you're not validating it, and you haven't given us any validation at all, and you want to move on. So beyond your assumption that it's Earth curve you're looking at, what have you done to validate your assumption?
Over Discord or what?
Tell us what you've done to validate this assumption. You went out assuming Earth curve. You've told us that. You told us what you did when you made the observation. You haven't told us what validated an obstruction as Earth curvature. Or is your comparison to Walter Bislin's model the validation?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Walter Bislin assumes R. You correctly identified that I pointed out that he's got an R already in his model, and now you're into talking over me while I point that out for the second time. So what, you've compared an observation of a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator that doesn't take into account angular resolution, uses feet and inches, and an orthographic representation of our world to exclude perspective, and you say by comparison it matches the obstruction at the horizon, the diffraction limit. That's not validation of Earth curve. That's proof that you can beg the question by way of a proof of nothing calculator.
Yes, I've also observed the sunrise and sunset.
You have not proved Earth curve, you dumb fuck. You've assumed Earth curve by way of a model that's got an R value already, by way of going out and telling us that you're going to look for Earth curve. So anything you see is already decided by you and this model comparison that's already got Earth curve in the fucking title. You demented stupidity. It's already got Earth curve in the title, mate. The calculator already knows, doesn't it? Like your assumption that you're looking for Earth curve. This is not Earth curve that you found. This is your demonstration of your fundamentalist religious belief in a model that assumes R. What's your proof of the R value that was assumed in Walter Bislin's model? Your bloody observation, you circular reasoning dickhead.
My experiment over the Bonneville Salt Flats, sir.
So your observation confirms the R that you're confirming the observation with, you circular reasoning dickhead.
No.
Yeah! You're just fucking retarded. So your observation that's confirmed by an R value in a model is confirmed by the observation? You stupid, demented, circle-jerking asshole. You're retarded. It's called begging the question and circular reasoning.
Oh, you're just not
Are
getting
you
it.
done, you
There's
dumb fuck? Are you done, Tim? Yeah, I'll decide when we move on. When your stupid assertion and begging the question fallacies been laid bare for everyone to see just how dumb you are. Then we'll move on, you dumb fuck, circular reasoning, begging the question moron. So no, assuming R in a model and claiming you've gone out and confirmed the model you've assumed to confirm the Earth curve you're assuming doesn't prove anything than you having circular reasoning for logic. You dumbo. Yeah, we're done, Tim. We'll move on. We'll move on, you dumbo. Learn how not to use circular reasoning and decent logic, you fallacious moron. Okay, Tim?
Next.
Fallacious moron, you. Stick to banging bimbos.
Sunrise, sunset, debunk.
Yeah, stick to banging bimbos, you dumb fuck. Any signs of axial
Go ahead,
rotation?
No,
There's
Earth
actually
is
two
stationary.
celestial points.
Tim, any
Celestial
signs of
point,
axial
a southern
rotation, Tim?
celestial point.
Any signs of axial
Yes.
rotation?
Yeah.
Go on, let's hear this.
Yes, the northern and southern celestial point, the circumpolar stars around it, when you're standing in the northern hemisphere looking...
That's begging the question, you dumb fuck. Hemisphere? So already we're making this example on a sphere, you stupid bonehead.
Go ahead, sir.
Dumb fuck. Hemisphere assumes we're on a sphere, you stupid idiot. Yeah, that silence is you not understanding your dumb fuck fallacious reasoning for the second time. Hemisphere automatically assumes we're on a sphere, Tim.
Alrighty, well, testing this...
Alrighty not, you dumb fuck. It's the second fallacious logic reasoning you've used in a row.
I'm sorry that you don't have a flat Earth model that...
Sorry, that's a red herring. Let's slow it down for this dingbat. No, Tim. Assuming your outcome when claiming axial rotation proof by using the word hemisphere is begging the question again. Am I speaking slow enough for you?
Indeed. Well, do you have a flat Earth model, sir? Because our
A model? I've just said this twice. So you are going to absolutely dedicate yourself to this red herring fallacy now? After begging the question with hemispheres that you're now running away from, you little bitch? Hemisphere, dickhead. So begging the question, do you get it? Are you thick? You beg the question by assuming we're on a sphere that turns with the word hemisphere. Do you getting it? Or do you want to stick to this red herring model shite?
Yes, indeed, actually. If you test the sphere, it works. Now, do you have anything that will replace
Test what
the
sphere?
that works?
Sphere's a model, you dumb fuck. So now you're going to move on to reification. Test the sphere. You mean the heliocentric model. That sphere.
No, the heliocentric model is actually...
Yeah, what do you mean, no, yeah, the heliocentric model? You mean, yes, the heliocentric model. Bullshit, bullshit. We don't live on a model. We don't live on a model. So, axial rotation, Tim, you beg the question. Do you have any actual proof of axial rotation beyond you assuming hemispheres?
Yes, the sun rises and sets and does 15 degrees per hour and does not change in angular size.
Angular size? So what? That's a not actual size.
It's not actual?
Angular, not actual. Apparent size, yeah.
That angular size, not apparent.
That's what apparent means. Angular is an apparent size, you dumb fuck. If I give you the degrees of a building in the distance, yeah, that's going to change as I get further away. It's not the actual size, the feet and inches, that would remove aspects of perspective, like in Walter Bislin's calculator. No. Angular size is apparent, not actual. So the not actual size of the sun doesn't change. Well, who gives a shit?
Another proof would be Bob's
Are you done with axial
gyro.
rotation? So the sun and its not actual bullshit size, not mattering when it not changes its not actual position. Yeah, is that your axial rotation proof done? We're still housekeeping with a fallacious dick tying us down with old 2015 shitty misapprehensions from fundy globeheads that can't keep up with the argument. So are you done with your fallacious begging the question and assuming hemispheres? Axial rotation, sunshine. Have you got any proof?
Another proof, which was Bob from Globebusters. He had a fiber optic gyro that actually measured 15 degrees per hour.
15 degrees per hour of what? 15 degrees per hour of the ring laser gyro. And what's that?
Yes.
And what's that?
Yes.
What is that?
It measures XYZ Cartesian coordinates.
Coordinates of what? So what's happening?
What is it?
So what's happening? Why is it deviating 15 degrees an hour?
Earth.
Oh, you're going to assume
Rotation of the
Earth
Earth.
caused that? Why would you make such an assumption? How have you validated your third in a row fuckwit assumption that this is caused by your begging the question of an Earth that spins? Why would you assume that the deviation, 15 degrees an hour in a ring laser gyro or fibre optic gyro, is your assumption of Earth turn? How have you validated that?
Because it's dependent on your latitude, and it doesn't just output 15 degrees.
Sorry,
it actually has
what's a
X, Y,
latitude? What's a latitude? A position on a sphere?
Oh boy, that's enough.
A position on a sphere? So you begging the question again, you dumbo. Hello? How many times are you going to beg the question in this housekeeping? Oh, depends on your latitude.
Yes,
What, your position on a sphere? Yeah, I've already pointed out that you're going to beg the question of the cause of this drift and blame it on your religious belief that Earth's a sphere. So how have you validated that a 15-degree deviation in a man-made device is actually caused by your fundy presupposition of an Earth that's spherical turning? How have you validated that? Don't beg the question and tell me about positions on spheres, idiot.
Depends on your latitude.
What, your position on your presupposed sphere? My God! And yeah, so you can do nothing but beg the question. It's getting to be intolerable. I want to shout out my new members and you're just tying up time by endlessly begging the bloody question.
Next housekeeping question. Good.
So no axial rotation proof then. You're begging the question of hemispheres, your sun and moon, your axial stars. It's all for nothing unless you assume sphericity in the first instance. So basically, unless you beg the question, you've got no proof we turn.
You asked for proof and I gave it to you, sir.
You didn't give me proof. You begged the question repeatedly. Fallacious reasoning isn't proof. It's fallacious. Are you nuts?
I see a lighthouse because it's there.
Oh, here we go. Time for another red herring. Yeah, you didn't present proof of axial rotation, Timmy. You just demonstrated your fallacious logic that you use to make sure your religion's adhered to. No proof, just fallacy, mate.
Next question, good sir.
Yeah, I know you want to move on because you can't admit when you're wrong. Yet your fundy religion was asserted multiple times when you demanded that we assume sphere Earth and that it's turning and causing man-made devices to drift when you assume that's the cause. Yet we know you've got a religious belief that's imposed on everything. But we haven't had any proof we turn. I know you want to move on because it's painful, but there's no proof Earth turns beyond these shitty, fallacious arguments you've presented.
Okay, that's your opinion, sir.
Not my opinion, I ripped you to shreds! Here now, are you deaf? Not an opinion!
What was the
funny.
next
The
question?
invoker is invoking R.
Yeah, he's done that.
No, I tested R.
No, you didn't. You used circular reasoning by verifying that your obstruction was Earth curve by comparing your observation to a model that assumed R in the first instance by Walter Bislin, and then saying that you've confirmed that R by your observation. It's circular reasoning, Tim. We went over it. This is the third time. You're just slow. Logic isn't your strong point.
I'm not sure that you understood the whole...
No, let's not hear how I didn't understand. Yeah, I understand Walter Bislin and you're begging the question fallacy. I'm tired of it. I think we can move on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Yes, you drop a pen and it falls to the ground. There is an acceleration there. What is that acceleration on a flat Earth? Buoyancy and density does not explain the vector. Go ahead.
Sorry, we started with you in a situation that you've already got a pen in your hand.
Yes, there's an acceleration. How do you explain the vector and the acceleration on a flat Earth?
I wasn't born with a pen in my hand. Were you born with a pen in your hand?
Is that an argument? Tell me.
I'm asking a question. Were you or were you not born holding a pen?
Do we test everything by if we were
It's
born
a simple
with
yes or
something
no
in our
question.
hand?
He can't seem to answer it. It's because he knows he's about to get raped with his own argument. Were you born with a pen or did you have to pick it up? Because I would say that picking it up and then letting it return is a consequence of you picking it up. But unless you were born with a pen in your hand, then obviously I'd need to explain this pen because it was already in your hand for you to drop it. That would need explanation. On the other hand, picking it up in the first instance would explain it dropping. It wouldn't have dropped unless you picked it up. It's simple. It's a simple cause and effect. You picked it up and then you dropped it. Of course, your example excluded that part, didn't it? That's why he's got to interrupt. Because it's the end of his argument. It's been shit on, so he's going to interrupt while I shit on it. Yeah, you weren't born with a pen in your hand. So even though you ignored the fact that first you'd have to pick it up, that would be the cause of it going back down again. You picking it up. Had you have not done that, it wouldn't have dropped. Now, would it? Dumb fuck.
All right. What is the cause and the effect of the acceleration in vector, please, sir?
Who gives a shit? Okay. I'm looking at a pen. It has neither. Tim, what's the cause of it having neither? Oh, that's because there's no gravity. There's no vector. It's stationary. The pen hasn't moved. Oh, what's that you say? If I pick it up and ignore that I've picked it up and then drop it and worry about the vector thereafter, you can attribute a force to that vector. What about the fact that you had to pick it up?
You're not very good without quantum array.
Oh, it's time for an ad hom. I'm not very good at. No, you're losing because you weren't born with a pen.
Because I wasn't born with a pen.
Yeah, you had to pick it up. You're not very fast, are you? You had to pick it up. Just out of interest, is this picking up a pen and dropping it in your feeble pea brain scientific evidence, which is what was asked for?
Did you ask for scientific evidence? I don't know.
Yeah, I did. You're so slow that you
acceleration
can't
vector yet?
even listen to a question that's been repeated approximately 1,000 times. Yeah, any scientific evidence of gravity, I'll pick up a pen and drop it. Why did it drop? Because you picked it up. Because you picked it up.
Have you explained the acceleration in gravity yet? Does that have anything to do with being born with a pen in your hand? I'm not really sure
let's try that again. He didn't listen to that bit either. Acceleration of this pen. I'm looking at the pen. It's not moving an inch. What acceleration? Oh, my bad. You're going to pick it up and then drop it and ignore the fact you've picked it up. Oh, that's not going to work. My pen's not accelerating. What vector? Oh, the one you give it when you pick it up? You fucktard.
Well, it's not floating in by your hand there, is it?
It's not dropping neither, you stupid shit. It's just a pen not having a vector. Oh, until you pick it up and ignore that fact. Yeah, you're just going to pick it up and ignore the fact you picked it up. And every time I say it, I'll get rumpused. So, are we still going to ignore the mechanics of picking it up and just be dropping it and working out the vector from there? Is that what we're going to be doing? Because that's not scientific evidence of gravity, you complete bonehead.
Yeah, so you still haven't explained the vector or the acceleration.
Sorry, is this scientific evidence?
Yes. Go ahead.
Excellent. What's the observed phenomena?
Falling.
The pen I'm looking at isn't moving. That's the 4th time I've said that. Are you dumb?
Floating.
Sorry, the pen's not floating either. Are you hallucinating? The pen in front of me is stationary. Are you getting it? Is it sinking in? El comprende? It's not moving. It doesn't have a vector unless you pick it up.
Isn't it going upwards or side
No,
to side? It's
not
moving down, isn't
Should I
it?
say it 6 more times? Is this working? Not moving. The pen's not moving, you dumb fuck.
It is not moving because of the
No,
vector. You
it's
are
not.
correct, sir.
Because I haven't moved it.
Question?
I haven't moved the pen. Like the microphone or any other stupid shithead example when someone picks something up and drops it and says, I'm going to assign a downward vector and calculate 9.8 meters per second acceleration force and say that that's gravity, having ignored the fact I had to pick it up in the first instance. Had I have just studied it without interfering with it, it wouldn't be moving at all.
Exactly, because there's a downward vector and it's sitting...
What vector? Are you stupid? Have I got to say this 12 more times? It doesn't have a vector. It's not moving. Are you retarded? Do you think stationary things have a vector?
On Earth, yes.
Oh,
Because of
on
gravity. You were
Earth.
correct.
Oh, is it time for you to beg the question of your religious belief and impose it on this example? I think it is. Go on then. Insert fundy Tim Osman belief. Go ahead, you fundy dick. Tell us all about your religion. Off you go.
Yes, so Nathan is actually explaining that...
Now it's time for an ad hom. No, not Nathan is time. No. Insert fundy religious belief, Tim. Off you go. Live up to our expectations. Dance for us, monkey. Insert your fundy belief so we can laugh at you. Tell us what happens on a sphere Earth, you fundy dick, so we can all laugh at you.
Sorry, you interrupted me again. Go ahead.
I'll keep interrupting you. I'm telling you, with my little whip, you're my little monkey. And I'm saying it's now time at this point in the argument where you insert your fundy presupposition about the downward vector you're going to assign to my pen based on your religious sphere Earth belief. So, little monkey, insert R here and dance for us, you pathetic zealot monkey. I'm whipping you. Don't you get it?
I think we've proven gravity quite well. Can we move on to the next question?
No, we can't. You've tried this 3 times on each housekeeping question. Each one, when you start to squirm, you ask if you can move on. No. We'll get to the point where the audience completely appreciates that you want to move on because you can't justify your fundy downward vector unless you insert your religious sphere belief. Fundy. So now you're going to either insert your fundy sphere belief, concede, or stay here indefinitely with us all laughing at you anyway.
Yes, there is a downward vector. You are correct, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Next question.
Yeah, go on. Let's have your fundy sphere belief.
It's negative 9.81 meters per second squared. You are
No,
correct.
the pen's not... He keeps doing this. He thinks I'm dumb. No, the pen's not moving, shit for brains. How many... That's about the 10th time. No, my pen's not moving at 9.8 meters per second, you stupid shit. It's stationary. Are you dumb? You need to insert your sphere belief to get this little bullshit rhetoric through, don't you? You're desperately trying to make a pen that's stationary move at 9.8 meters per second, but it ain't moving. No matter how much you say it, I'll say it another 11 times if you wish. But you need a sphere belief religion inserting here, don't you, Tim? Now, you can obfuscate, maybe ask me to move on to the next housekeeping question, or dance like a fundy monkey and insert your little sphere belief. Go on, monkey, just do it. We
Yes,
all
F
need a good
equals
New
MA.
Year laugh
You are
at
correct.
you. At
Force
you.
equals mass times acceleration. You are correct. Next question.
Sorry, what acceleration is my pen experiencing again, Tim? It's 12th time I've said it. He's just so stupid that he thinks stationary things are moving. You need your sphere belief in there, don't you, to make that make sense? You just need to insert your little
No.
R value. Go on, Tim, do it for us, you little monkey zealot. Do it. Do it.
F equals MA. Yes, it worked the same on a flat Earth as well. If we
F
experienced
equals
it. Exactly.
MA.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've got some acceleration
Yes.
going on with my pen, have we? We've got some acceleration going on with this pen. It's not moving. That's the 12th time. How stupid are you? Are you really this stupid that you think a stationary pen is moving? Hello, the pen's not moving.
Yes, there's
13
applied to
times,
it.
Dumbo. I say it really slowly. Pen not
That's why you
moving.
put
Not
pen on a
moving. The
scale.
pen. I took it away from you, Tim. when I said that you had to pick it up? Now the pen's not in the air for your example, isn't it? So what you need here is a sphere belief religion insertion. Just do it for us, you little monkey. Go on. Go on, Tim. Just insert your religious belief so we can all have a good laugh.
Okay, put that pen onto a scale. Now there's actually a force equals ma, as I said before, so the mass times the 9.8 meters per second squared, and that's what registers the weight. You are correct. There is a force being applied.
Sorry, that weight that you're saying is being applied, it's not accelerating anywhere. The pen's still stationary on the scale.
It's still going downwards, is it not?
No,
is
it's
it
not.
flying upward?
I've just done it. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, I've just put the pen on a scale. Obviously, ignoring the part where I intervened, picked it up and put it back down again. I'm going to discount all of that and now look at it. It's not moving at all. What are you on about? It's sat on a scale, not moving. What the bloody hell are you babbling about, you fundy fool?
Yeah, because of the acceleration downwards.
No acceleration. Are you dumb? 14 times.
Yes.
14 times I've had to tell this dumb moron that it ain't moving. Other than when I picked it up and put it back down again. Now, obviously, we're going to ignore that. It's not moving.
Yes, it's not moving because of the force downwards. You are correct.
Force downwards? What force would that be? Is it the one I'm asking you to prove with scientific validity that you're about to assume? Are you saying this force downwards, the one I'm asking for scientific validity of, is now going to be assumed in your next statement, Tim? You little monkey fundy. Go on, do it, you dancing fundy. Tell us all about the downward force you're going to assume. The one that you're trying to prove here with scientific validity.
Satellites also prove gravity. You are correct.
Sorry, not red herring. Not a red herring. Tell us about the downward force. You nearly did, didn't you, monkey? We're training you well. Tell us about your downward force and how it applies to your sphere Earth. You nearly did it. Come on. Good dog. You'll get a biscuit at the end.
Satellites actually prove
Not
the downward
satellites.
force as well.
Hey, the dog's run off after another dog's ass. Come here, doggy. Not your red herring about satellites. The pen. The pen that's not moving down at 9.8 meters per second squared beyond your religious belief that we've got this downward force at 9.8 meters per second squared. The one you're trying to prove here with science. We want you to assume it and then tell us why you've assumed it so we can laugh at your insertion of your fundy belief. Dance for us, you fundy zealot. Just tell us about how Earth's a sphere and you've got this mandatory downward force. Tell us, Tim. Go on. You know you want to. You're a fundy. You want to tell us, demand that we accept it's a sphere. Tell us. Go on.
Yes, everything on Earth experiences the downward acceleration force. You are correct.
No, that's on a sphere Earth model, not everything on Earth. On your model with the mathematics of 9.8 meters per second squared that you're assuming Earth is, as opposed to offering scientific validity. So no. No, that's applicable to your model, Tim. Reification won't get you out of this little bind now, will it? No, that doesn't happen. The pen's not moving. 16 times.
What's the next question?
No, Tim. 16 times I've told you the pen's not moving. But you've got to tell me that it is. Because there's a downward acceleration force applicable to your religious belief in a sphere Earth that we must apply, right? Even though it's not moving. Hey, Fundy?
Yes, so it's not moving upward side to side because of the downward acceleration force. You are correct.
What the downward acceleration force you assume on a sphere Earth? Sorry, we were asking for scientific validity of this gravity, not for you to assume it based on your religion that you're on a sphere. Oh my God, I think you need to go to one of those religious channels. Go to one of the religious sphere channels, you fundy. We don't just accept your religion here. No, we asked you to prove gravity by way of science, not just assume a 9.8 meters per second downward force on a sphere Earth. That's begging the question, Tim. Oh my God. 3 for 3 every housekeeping question. Insert fundy religious sphere belief. We're dealing with religious zealots. It's unreal. Moving on. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
None whatsoever.
Still waiting.
Yes, Kepler's laws of planetary motion work out quite well.
Oh, do they? Do you need to
You're
make
right.
any assumptions
Yeah.
about the size of Venus for those mathematics to apply? Any assumptions about Venus in those mathematics applied in the current heliocentric bullshit reification? Any assumptions about Venus's size when applying those maths, Tim? Dun, 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 dun. He's going to get whipped. Whipped, I say. Whipped!
So Venus has something to do with Kepler's laws?
Yeah. When you assume Venus is the same size as your past 3 religious assumptions of a sphere Earth with a predisposed R value, when you assume the radius of a presupposed spherical Venus is the same as Earth, then you can apply that mathematical law. So you'd need to assume
So
Venus
Kepler's
is the same
laws
as
have
Earth.
nothing to do with the size of planets. I'm not sure. I think you're mixing up your nonsense here, my friend.
What? The mathematical Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion, which absolutely assumes the lights in the sky are planets, physical bodies orbiting the sun. That assumptive piece of mathematics would require the assumption that Venus is the same size as Earth. You're going to get whipped
And
here
how are
on
they
every
wrong?
single question. The question is for a viable hypothesis from any of these fields. An application of a mathematical law to a presupposition that Venus is the same size as a presupposed spherical Earth. This is not a scientific hypothesis. Just demonstrates admirably you don't know what science is. This is not a viable hypothesis, Tim.
Okay, what about orbital mechanics? Does orbital mechanics not work?
Do you not know
Just
what an
wondering.
orbit is? It can't help beg the question. So you're going to assume bodies falling around other bodies? So you're going to beg the question by using orbits. If it's not bloody hemispheres, it's orbits. Yeah, that would be begging the question. Orbits begs
Okay,
the
so
question.
you asked if
Dumbo,
there's any
listen up.
viable-
Get a pen. Get the pen that's not moving
Okay.
and write this down. Orbits begs the question. It automatically assumes that which you are trying to prove. Heliocentricity. So what? We're just going to assume that the moon's falling around a spherical Earth, are we? No. Orbits begs the question. Get a pen. Write it down.
Is the moon and the sun not orbiting to our
That's your bloody
observations here on Earth?
assumption. Are you dumb? That is the very essence of your begging the question fallacy in this instance. You automatically assume that the moon is falling around a spherical Earth, otherwise known as orbits. You stupid moron. Bloody hell.
Was that a question?
No, it's me telling you what's what, you fallacious moron. Orbits is a begging the question fallacy. Hemispheres is a begging the question fallacy. Gravity requires your bloody religious belief in sphere Earth. Everything you've done here revolves around your religion that Earth's a sphere, and you imposing it on every example you make. It's pathetic. You're a religious fundy. Have you got anything beyond your religious belief
you
as
don't-
proof? Anything?
In the solar system? Do you not believe in other
Oh my
planets
god, now he's
orbiting
assuming
around?
solar system. So back to one step removed from heliocentricity. The solar system is based on a heliocentric world with the sun at the centre. So you're going to beg the question by talking about the solar system now. Do you ever not beg the question, Tim?
Well, we can actually observe Saturn and Jupiter and other planets. So
That's
what do
nice.
you think those are? Are they not orbiting the Earth?
Sorry,
Or the
are
sun,
they
rather?
not my begging the question fallacy? What, are they not your religious belief? No, they're just lights in the sky. But you impose your orbital religion on us. Are they not orbiting? You think by asking me if they're not doing what you believe by way of religion, that makes them doing it? You're just a fundy. You're pathetic, Tim.
What's a funding?
Fundamentalist,
that the
religious.
sun and the
He's
moon
religious. He's got a religion. His religion is a sphere. That's what a fundamentalist is. Fundamentalist religious zealotry, where every assumption comes with his religious belief. In this instance, every single assertion comes with the predisposed assumption that Earth is spherical. Spinning, hemispheres, orbits, all of these things assume the outcome, the thing he's trying to prove. So he's a fundamentalist. Fundamentally, always his religious belief in a sphere, regardless of anything that is ever said ever. He hasn't conceded a point here. That's what makes him a fundy. He's not saying, oh yeah, that's my circular reasoning, that. No, just move on to the next point. That's what fundies do. Because he's not going to accept that he's wrong or use fallacy. Just move on to the next point and forget about it. Because it still applies in his fundamentalist world of sphere, regardless of what I say here. Nothing's sinking in. That's what a fundy is.
Oh yeah, he heard me.
Yeah, he's hearing you right now. But anyway, just saying that we have actually exhausted this question. I have answered it with Kepler's laws and planetary motion.
That's mathematical. So I've asked for a viable hypothesis. He's given me a mathematical law. He doesn't know the difference between maths and science.
Maths is...
Not science! You stupid dick! How stupid are you? Did you not pay attention in fucking high school? Maths is not science. I asked for a hypothesis. You're just stupid. Not science. That's
so
what
with
maths
the second
is.
law of thermodynamics, does
Yeah,
that
your
have any math
mathematical
in it? The
law
second
isn't
law
a
of
viable
thermodynamics?
hypothesis. You're just dumb.
Does the second law of thermodynamics have any math involved with that? I'm just
It's a
wondering, tell me.
natural law, not a scientific hypothesis. Again, your fundamental misunderstanding about scientific laws and scientific hypothesis. A law doesn't go through the scientific method. It's just a law of nature. A proven cause and effect is a scientific hypothesis. You've offered maths. You're just dumb.
So is there any math involved with the second law of thermodynamics?
That's
or no?
a natural law, not mathematical law, not a mathematical Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion. No, that wouldn't be a natural law, fuckwit, like the second law of thermodynamics. You don't know the difference between science and maths. I've said it 4 times. Go away and revise your secondary education. Because at the moment, you're arguing with a juxtaposition between a mathematical and a natural law. They're 2 different subjects, you moron.
There is math in the second. There is math, though, you're saying?
Yeah,
Is
there
that the
might
gist
be
of it?
math in a natural law, but Kepler's mathematical law is not a natural law. For the 3rd and final time, you don't know the difference between maths and science.
What's the next question? Tell me.
Why is it that when this fundy, a fundamentalist religious, gets pointed out that he's wrong, he's been asked for a hypothesis, he's offered mathematics, then been pointed out that he doesn't know the difference between the two, and now he wants to move on? Why? So you can forget about this little embarrassing moment and keep that little belief that Kepler's third law is a natural law when it isn't? Yeah, what, you want to keep that fundamentalist religious belief held dear and move on, do you, Tim? Or maybe accept that mathematical law isn't scientific validity offered from a field of cosmology or astrophysics.
Is orbital mechanics a natural law? I'm just wondering.
No!
Tell me.
No, it's It's just not, it's just deaf. Did I not explain that
News to me.
orbits begs the questions? And your response was to say, is it not reasonable to automatically assume that we've got the moon falling around Earth? No, that would be your assumption. That's about the 4th time I've pointed that out as well.
What's the next question? I want to get this in this show if we can.
Why?
The next.
I want you, a fundy, to be demonstrated as such. This is another time, in fact the 4th in a row, where we've got to the end of a housekeeping question where you have the delusion that you're offering some validity to the question, in this case a hypothesis, from any claimed to be scientific field, and you haven't got it. But now you want to move on after being smashed for the 4th time. Yet what shock! Not any tacit acceptance of your incorrect assertion that a mathematical law is not a scientific hypothesis, not even a natural law. That would also not have a hypothesis.
Yes. Next question, please.
Fine, I'll
The
take
3
the yes.
strikes, you're out, Tim Osman.
take
You're
the
going
yes.
on 4 strikes.
Yeah, 4 for 4. Unreal. As it's getting to like 10 minutes of the show left, we will continue the housekeeping question, but I'm gonna say, shout out some super chats. To be fair, Tim, it is fun having you here. I'm not gonna lie. So shout out to Banquet. Hold on, just one sec, Tim. I'll be back with you. We'll carry on housekeeping, I promise. I know you're keen. Banquet and Garter, your wedding videographer, has become a member. Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate it. I can't really read that. NCAP Pucarus. I've probably butchered that completely. Send me a super chat. Thank you very much indeed. Same goes to Retro Bill. Thank you very much indeed for your support. Drinking Game. Take a shot each time Timmy uses a logical fallacy. Right on. Alexander also, thank you very much indeed for your super chat. Really appreciate your support. When the next one comes in, if I get one at all, I'll read out what it says, but I can't actually read it. So, Jesus. Any evidence of the R value you assumed in the other 3 questions, Tim?
Yes. Actually, me and Jesse Kozlowski used two $20,000 GPS units, did 2 different tests, got thousands of points, XYZ Cartesian coordinates across the Bonneville Salt Flats. Very, very level, very, very straight road. Now you can actually take that and model it. I know you love reifications. And we got within 0.5% of the Earth's proposed radius.
We already covered this. On curvature, it was circular... Do I have to repeat this again? Was everyone clear when I smashed this on point 1?
It's getting XYZ Cartesian coordinates. This is the R value now that we're on. We're not on the observation points of the Great Salt Lake. We're talking about the Bonneville Salt Flats now. Just saying that we did measure R, and it measured quite well to the proposed model that we have that works, that is a sphere Earth and not a flat Earth that does not work in any way. Go ahead.
I've already covered that with circular reasoning. So you compared your observation to a model that already had an assumptive value of R. The model you used...
Nope. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is now the Bonneville Salt Flats using 2 $20,000 GPS units that get XYZ Cartesian coordinates. Has nothing to do with the observations. We're getting thousands of points when we only need 3 to actually make a calculation. And it got within 0.5% of the Earth's radius.
Well, how did you know the Earth's radius already then? So you're saying it came within...
You don't need to.
Well, how did you know you came within? How did you know you came within it then if you haven't already got it?
You just finish the circle because it's making a circle as you're going around the 37 miles, very, very level, very, very straight road. You take the XYZ Cartesian coordinates. You can plug them in on Walter Bislin's actually app if you'd like, and it does come out to 0.5% of the Earth's radius.
What does? What have you measured?
There's also Jesse Kozlowski did the Alberuni method, where he went on top of a mountain and measured the sun, and that actually gets very close to. People did this, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 years ago. You guys are kind of late here, but you can do the Alberuni method to measure the Earth's circumference.
I want to know what you did. What did you do? What were you measuring? Shout out to Chow Yun Cat. Sociopaths feel no shame. They cannot even blush. Alexander also, a pen is not a vector, but you can think of it as a vector. Thank you very much for the super chats. Really appreciate your support. So what are you measuring? What are you pointing at and measuring?
Measuring the Earth's curvature.
Oh,
in that
don't
case,
make the question. Just tell me what you're pointing at. What are you pointing at and measuring?
Not pointing at anything. It's just measuring the topography of the Earth on a very level surface.
So if it's very level, how can it be curved?
Because level doesn't mean flat.
Yeah, it does. That's exactly what level means.
The center of the sphere, actually. No, we can look it up right now if you want to, if we want to go quantum eraser with it.
Do whatever you want. You're saying it's very level, therefore it's curved. And you're saying level is curved. No, it isn't. That's the antithesis of level.
No, level does not mean flat. It does not mean flat.
Okay, well then you're delusional. Yes, it does.
Okay, well that's your argument. Thank you very much. I'll take that and throw it into the trash.
You still haven't explained what you've measured. You're saying you're measuring something very level, and therefore it's curved because by my definition, level is curved. Okay, that makes no sense. But you still haven't told me what you've measured. You're saying I'm measuring the very flat and level surface. Well, this
I
example
didn't say
isn't
flat.
selling
You
me.
said flat. That's a straw man.
You haven't
I didn't
told
say
me
flat.
anything.
I said very level surface.
Hold on a second. Adam, are you there?
Yep, sorry, I was.
Can you make any sense of this mathematics? Because I'm not getting anywhere. I don't know the right mathematical questions to ask him.
Well, if you're talking flat and level, what would be your definition to define flat and level as a curve then, Tim?
No, not flat. Don't strawman me with flat. I'm talking about level. The measurement of the difference of altitude of 2 points by means of a level.
What? I tried this yesterday.
I think what Nathan's probably getting at, and I've been listening, I'm not really sure what you've been doing to come to this conclusion. I think that's all we're asking for, is just a bit of clarity on what you did and why what you did demonstrates curvature. I'm not able to ask any more because you've not given enough detail for me to comprehend other than what you're claiming it does, but you've not really explained it. So could you just expand a bit, Tim?
Have you been in the chat listening? I'm just wondering, have you been in the chat listening or not?
He's on the show, listening intently the whole time. So he's heard the whole conversation.
How many times do I have to tell you, Adam Meakin, that I took two $20,000 GPS units on 37-mile stretch of I-80 across the Bonneville Salt Flats, got XYZ Cartesian coordinates, which do not show that it's flat. Okay, you can also, I have it modeled on Walter Bislin's site with thousands of different points. You only need 3 to see if it's curved or the radius of the Earth. I have thousands of points, and you can look into that if you'd like.
Okay, so I think that's where, if you could expand a little bit on that, that's where we're asking for the clarity of when you took these readings.
Because my question would be, from you're getting a mean from a higher elevation to a lower elevation, 1 point to 2 points. How is this turning into a curve? Explain that part.
Because the Earth is curved.
No, that's you begging the question.
What kind of question is
that's you begging the question. You asserting that is just your fundamentalist religious belief again. Don't force an immediate begging of the question when I stop talking. Don't just assert your religious belief as the answer to that question. Why is it curving? Well, because I'm automatically assuming it. No. My God, so it's just the same crap as last time because you assume it or compare it to a model. That's the only answer, and you'll only repeat it when someone else asks it, so that it seems like you can slip it in immediately because you beg the question, because you're a fundy.
Yes.
I can't believe you've admitted it.
Is that a question? I don't know.
Yeah, you're admitting that the only way you can make this example is by way of begging the bloody question and assuming automatically that you're measuring a curved surface. We said that I smashed this already. My exasperation is because I've gone over this with you about this particular one. I've lost track probably about 6 times for that one example on this live show. Another shout out to Retro Build. Can we talk to Tim's girlfriend again? It's a laugh.
Hi, babe.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, then this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all the new members and people who smashed the super chat. Also to you who commented, liked, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Didn't even make it all the way through housekeeping.
I thought that was Tim's late Christmas present to you. That.
What, summarizing?
So, Adam Meakin, are you interested in actually seeing the data that we've accrued over the Bonneville salt flats, or do you want to continue to believe
that was the question, Tim? I'm just curious as to what.
I'm on Discord. I can't show you pictures. I can't do anything.
But I was just curious as to what it is you're doing and why you're drawing conclusions from it. Just that's the detail I was after. I assume you've got lots of points plotted. I'm just wondering how that plotting of those points, when you obviously then put them into a ball model and it corresponds, what's validating this?
No, you don't have to put it into a ball model, dude. It's Cartesian coordinates XYZ, just as Bob's XYZ on his fiber optic gyro disprove flat Earth. So does this two different GPS observations on the Bonneville salt flats does, dude.
So you're obtaining GPS coordinates for your XYZ. So you're taking the reading and then extracting from a machine the XYZ coordinates and then plotting those, and that's demonstrating the curvature.
Yep. So Roger MC in Nathan's Discord here under live stream has just posted on Walter Bisland's site what we did.
Forget what we're doing. You're nearly there. So
hold on.
So you're getting your data from a model that presents it from a 3D model.
Keep reaching,
so
dude. It's Earth-centered, Earth-fixed coordinates.
Position on the map, and then you ask for the GPS coordinates, which gives it you based on a ball model anyway.
Yeah, GPS.
And then you match that up.
Dude, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, dude.
Those coordinates match the coordinates that you took
said,
from the ball.
No, you don't know what you're talking about, Adam. Yeah, GPS.
He just talks on and on, dude.
Yeah,
he doesn't know what he's talking about.
He's basically, what I've done, Tim, is I've got a mathematician to ask, and surprisingly, he's asked the exact same questions I asked, and come to the exact same conclusions I've come to. Yeah, you're using GPS. Yeah, you're automatically assuming it's a sphere. Yeah, what you want to send him to is the Walter Bislin, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve model that's got your points from GPS plotted on them, so that you can beg the question with your plotting based on GPS on a model of a presupposed sphere. So I've smashed it. Now mathematician smashed it.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
It is wrong. Hand wave. Yeah. I smashed it. Now Adam smashed it.
A sphere into a sphere. You're just making shit up. You don't know what you're talking about.
You plotted it using global positioning. Correct?
Oh wow, yeah. Satellites that actually
debunk the flat Earth, right? You used global positioning to plot these points, so they were already being plotted on a globe then, Tim?
What does ECEF mean, Nathan? ECEF, what does that mean?
I couldn't give two shits. You use GPS
so you don't
to
know
plot your points based on global positioning. So based on where the globe said you were, you plotted your points. Global positioning system.
Qualitative GPS, do you, Nathan? You don't think GPS gives you the right answers?
What global positioning system doesn't?
Do you accept GPS gives you your coordinates?
Why are you talking over me? So global positioning system would give you your position on a presupposed globe. It's global positioning. So it assumes the globe then, Rumpus. Assumes the globe.
Do you accept it gives you the right answer?
So why isn't he acknowledging me and asking his question again? Let's just get rid of Rumpus because he's clearly incapable of responding to me.
Sweep aside all the questions.
Clearly incapable of responding to my absolute demolition that by using a global positioning system, that would automatically assume your position is relative to your religious belief that you're on a globe. Ergo begging the question. But he wants to ask me about how valid it is. No, it assumes a globe, Rumpus. Something that you wouldn't address. You just wanted to ask me about how I think it's valid or not. rather than address that Tim is absolutely begging the question by saying his assumption of his position on a globe confirms the Earth's sphericity. No, he's just fucking retarded. Like you coming to the rescue, right, Rumpus? Because we've rumbled him, and he needs his little snowflake shoes saving. Yeah, he's begged the question. Yeah, it got rumbled. Yeah, it got pointed out to him 6 times, and he still doesn't get it, and now he needs you to white knight for him. Because he's fucked.
Why do you...
Yeah, did you like Rumpus coming to your aid?
Talk to Rumpus?
Yeah, you needed Rumpus, didn't you? To come to your rescue, you fallacious dick. Yeah, global positioning assumes you're positioned on a globe already, Tim. Didn't you appreciate that? Did you just forget what GPS stood for? It stands for I'm a begging the question zealot who's going to assume my position's on a globe and then claim that's proof of a globe. No, it proves you can beg the question, you absolute buffoon.
Don't you use GPS?
It proves you can beg the question,
GPS
moron.
when you go in?
Proves your religious belief is strong and you don't recognise when your keepers like Rumpus are foisting it on you. And you're so dumb as to come here and assert that when you assume your position on a globe, that proves a globe. No, mate, it proves that you're just been hoodwinked and they're overtly doing it. And you're coming telling us that GPS, global positioning, proves that you're on a globe? Oh no, that's not begging the question, my bad. Let's question its validity with Rumpus saving you, white knighting for you. How pathetic. Can't even back your own arguments. Endless silences till Rumpus comes and saves you. How pathetic.
Do you have any arguments? Or no?
Is that your
Next
rebuttal?
question.
That's what we're asking you.
What's the next housekeeping question?
What time to move on, eh? I'm just going to dwell on the fact that Rumpus had to come and save you from your own stupidity when you begged the question of being on a positional system that's global. Being globally positioned when you got your markers. Did Jesse Kozowski tell you that it was perfectly acceptable to assume a model for your positioning that referenced a globe when you were trying to prove the globe? Did he say that was all cushy? He's fucking... He obviously knows how stupid you are. Jesse Kozowski must recognise just how stupid you are to get that over you. Because you bought it here and thought it was proof. No, it proves you beg the question, and Jesse Kozowski's made you look really stupid. Well done, Jesse. You knew just how dumb he was to get him to do this with you.
Next question.
How dumb is Tim Osman? Who else can get one over of him and get him to beg the question without him even realising it? Anybody else? Roll up, roll up. He's well trained in begging the question. He's a very well-trained fundamentalist religious zealot. He will automatically assume his outcome and defend that he hasn't indefinitely. Anybody want to use and abuse Tim to beg the question? He's a dedicated religious tard. He knows his religion well.
Tim, you've lost the boxing match. Now you want to jump in the ring and demand the rematch when you've lost every round so far. Give it a break.
Yeah, what's that? You need Rumpus to come to save you. You want Rumpus back, do you?
So anyway,
sorry, is he calling for his white knight? Did you want your white knight back?
No, I'd love to hear Rumpus and you go at it. It's fun.
No,
I already explained
we're going
GPS.
at it, Tim.
You don't know
I'm humiliating you.
Means. You don't know anything about the subject.
Tim, I'm demonstrating just how big a religious zealot you are. So I'm asking if you want him to come and rescue you from this absolute pummeling you're receiving. Your demonstration of your religion. Zealot, Fundy, that's you.
Do you have the next housekeeping question?
No,
yeah,
I'm asking,
you totally have wrecked me.
No worries, I'll ask the next question. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll concede. Do you want Rumpus to save you?
I think he should get his fair chance.
To save you?
He didn't save me from anything. He was just asking, is GPS reliable? That doesn't have anything to do with what I did with...
assumed your outcome by assuming your position was global when trying to prove global position by using a positional system that was already global to prove it was global? What, begging the question? He wasn't trying to save you from that. He was just asking how good GPS was. I'm sure it's fucking wonderful. That's lovely. Did you want him to save you from your begging the question fallacy and assuming GPS when plotting positions to prove everything's curving? No, the plotting system you used was already based on it curving. You fucking moron. Now, do you want Rumpus to save you from this? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, let's hear what he has to say.
Okay.
Sure.
Hi, Rumpus. He wants you to white knight for him.
That's my pleasure. No, Tim's doing fine. He presumed,
No, he isn't. That's the first fail. Yeah, Tim did appallingly. He just assumed that when plotting things based on a spherical GPS positioning system, that somehow didn't beg the question of global positioning. That global positioning.
Yeah,
So he isn't doing well. He's doing very badly. You're here to save him. That's why you're here. He's not doing well, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So you're wrong already.
He presumed that the context of the discussion was that GPS worked. Now, if he could give you a long argument from very, very basics up to what he's showing you, then he'd be there, for 5 minutes, and you'd mute him or something. So he started off by saying, "Well, let's assume the GPS works, because I think you do accept that GPS works."
So let's assume we're on a globe. Let's assume global positioning. So that's what he's saying. That's my argument. Yeah, Tim's saying, let's assume global positioning works. Yeah, that's begging the question, Rumpus. You're not really doing him any favours, you complete fucktard. Yeah, he's saying let's assume global positioning works. That's assuming global positioning then, you stupid moron.
Reject that, Nathan.
Don't shout into your mic. You're all distorted.
Do you accept that
Don't you know how to
GPS
use your
works or
equipment?
not?
You're all distorted. You're a
Was he
moron.
wrong?
You don't even know how to
Was
use
he
your
wrong
mic.
to assume
You're a moron. I
that
can't
you
bear
thought
to
it
listen to
worked?
you. Are you going to listen to me that your mic's all distorted?
Well, I don't know why that. I think there must be
You're shouting into it while I'm talking. That's why, you stupid moron.
Well, you should stop.
I'll do what the fuck I like. You're shouting into your shit, pathetic, useless microphone, and it's all distorting. Because you want to talk while I'm talking, to the point where you'll make your mic sound horrendous. Because you can't tolerate someone else talking. So you'll shout and scream like a little baby, while you back my argument. My argument being that Tim automatically assumed that GPS was a perfectly acceptable system. Well, automatically assuming global positioning isn't proving it, it's assuming it, you dumb fuck.
Is it a working system?
Yeah, you're still
Nathan?
distorting. You're a moron. You don't have to use your mic. What a moron. Even when you get a chance to speak unimpeded. All you can present here is distorted shite. Useless twat.
Do you accept that it works? I see you not dodging.
Or do I automatically beg the question of global positioning? No, I fucking don't, you dick.
So you reject
Jesus
GPS.
H. Christ. No, that's your last chance. Stop, sort out your mic, or I'm going to have to mute you for the benefit of my listeners. You're just terribly distorted. It's horrendous.
Right, well, I can...
Don't shout into your mic when I'm talking, you stupid idiot.
Well, you should allow me to get a sentence out.
No, I'll do what I like. It's my show, you stupid
Well, you're scared.
moron.
You're scared of my sentences, aren't you?
No, I'm scared of your distorting mic offending my audience. I've said it about 4 times. You don't like accepting anything I say. Yet you've told us that Tim Osman...
No, I'm happy to exchange. But the point is, you will refuse to reject GPS, and so it's quite clear that...
What? Beg the question? I refuse to beg the question. Yeah, that's my winning argument and why you're here to white knight for Tim. Because as you keep pointing out, you have to beg the question that it's perfectly acceptable to position yourself on the globe to prove the globe. That's the essence of begging the question.
It's a different issue, doesn't it?
No, it's not a different issue. It's the issue you've come to white knight for Tim and save his ass when he assumes global positioning is perfectly cushy.
He assumed that context was correct, and you do.
Yeah, he assumed the globe.
Yeah, do you accept GPS?
No, I don't accept global positioning. That's begging the question. Automatically assuming my position is global won't set me up to prove global positioning. It's begging the bloody question.
Right, so you reject GPS.
Not right. Wrong. Fallacious. Your reason for being here. Not right.
Make up your mind. If you accept GPS is...
No, I don't. If I beg the question, is that all you've got? If I just go with this begging the question, no, I won't.
Stop dodging the question.
Not dodging the question, not begging the question. If I just accept global positioning, then I can go on to prove that I'm positioned on a globe. That's the essence of begging the question, you fundy zealot.
So you reject it then?
Yeah, I don't assume it as my outcome in my example, which I'm not making. Tim is.
Do you reject the validity of GPS?
Yeah, it's called begging the question, automatically assuming global positioning when you're trying to prove that you're on a globe. Yes, I do reject it. It's fallacious logic.
So you reject GPS as being a...
Yeah, I've said it 16 times, so he's got nothing more to offer other than you accept or reject the very begging the question he's come to defend. I don't want to hear it 16 more fucking times, so he's going on mute. He's got nothing to offer beyond his zealotry. A forced assumption. You must accept first that global positioning's correct. You must accept first that you're on a globe for me to make any example that in any way proves we're on a globe. That's fallacious and the point. No, I won't automatically assume global positioning when I'm standing somewhere. No, that's the only way you ever get to prove a globe. Force your opponent to first assume he's on a fucking globe.
Oh, you muted Rumpus again. Do you want to get to the next housekeeping question?
What? So he can just tell me that if I assume global positioning first, your example makes sense to him. So have I got to beg the question for your example then and assume a global position for your positions to make sense globally? I've got to assume that they're based on a global position first, have I, Tim? Is it acceptable to first assume that the positions you've measured were measured on a globe to begin with? Is that an acceptable assumption when you're trying to prove that the positions you're measuring are global, to first assume they're measured globally? That's cool, is it?
You already proved that you don't know what ECEF means. And
Sorry, that's a red herring. I'm asking simplistically, is it acceptable to make measurements that assume their position is global if you're going to use that to prove that the position is global? It's not circular reasoning in your mind. You're going to dance past it and ask me about some acronym?
The technology. That's the problem. You don't understand what you're talking about. That's the problem. So move on to the next question.
No, I do understand that if you assume your position is global, what's the measurement system you used again? Global positioning system? Well, if you assume that your position is global and then present the data as proof of it being global, it simply assumed that it was measured on a globe to begin with. So it doesn't prove that it's a globe, it proves that you've imposed a religious assertion that your measurements were automatically on a globe when you made them, proven by your positioning system being a global positioning system. It's the very essence of begging the question. Now, either you don't understand this, or you're a fundy zealot who will ignore your fallacious reasoning and tell me it's acceptable, like Rumpus is, to just assume global positioning when proving global positioning.
Well, I think actually the 10th time that you said it, I'm actually starting to get your semantical argument there. So anyway, the next housekeeping question.
You're beginning to understand that by assuming the very thing you're trying to prove and asserting that the positioning system that you're referencing is already a global positioning system, that would be invalid to assert as proof that the measurements you took proved global positioning. You accept now that that's circular reasoning?
Tim,
I don't accept that, but we'll agree to
Tim,
disagree, good sir.
It's okay. No. He's given his answer. He doesn't accept it. So that's fine. Option 2, fundamentalist religious zealotry. No worries.
Tim, you came here on the Earth curve question first. You begged the question there. Then we went to the next one. You begged the question there. You're on your 5th one. You've begged the question each time. Can you just offer proof without begging?
Just quantum eraser. Anyway, he's here. What's the next question?
We're done with the live show. The live show's over.
Did he just
yeah, I'm just saying that he's just using quantum eraser's rhetoric out of his own mouth. So anyway, what's the next question?
Okay, here I got something for you.
Talk about religious fundies. I mean, these guys here. Wow. Wow, you can play a soundbite. That's cool. But you're a flat earther at the end of the day, and you're completely wrong. So what's the next housekeeping question?
Who cares? We're not live.
Did you assume I was a flat earther and I'm completely wrong? Did you assume that?
I've heard you for a long time. Anyway, Nathan, I just wanted to say congratulations
I
on
heard
people
you
being
for a
able to
long
join
time.
your
Can I
channel.
assume something too?
You are in violation of YouTube's terms
Hey,
of
you're
service,
ignoring
and
me.
with this
You
video and
afraid of a
others, you
farmer?
will be removed.
You afraid of a farmer?
Thank you so much.
I guess he's afraid of a farmer. He might get killed.
Yeah, Tim's the essence of chat troll, fundamentalist religious zealotry. Assume my outcome. That's the only thing he's got to assert here. You must assume my outcome. Failure to assume my outcome is met with nothing but ridicule.
He begged the question on every point rather than offering substantial evidence.
I can't believe that was still going.
They have to keep going. They don't like the consequence.
They like affirming the consequence a lot, though.
Consequent versus consequences.
So, Nathan, did we get to the point of admission there? I'm not sure. I weren't sure exactly that we may have been taking X and Y and plotting them, but we were getting the Z off of the GPS. Or did Tim actually outline any methodology that he used to define the Z?
I think that's a fair assumption, but I didn't want to make that assumption, and I didn't. I just tried feebly to get him to actually say it. He just wouldn't.
Close enough. I think we got that it was derived from the model and not measured. Although it's hard to tell with Tim. He's very good at obfuscating.
Well, that's all he's got. We've smashed that multiple times. We know what your assumptions are going to be if you're going to make that model work. And that's all he's going to ever cross-reference it with. That's all he's doing. He made it plain initially. What he wanted to send to you was it plotted out in Walter Bislin's model. Well, you know, that's what he wanted to give you.
Yeah, it was clear indication he was referencing the model in every question that you asked. There was no denying it. He was assuming it from the beginning.
Every globe proof ether. Hello, how's it going? Every globe proof ether will start with the assumption that you're on a sphere. It's just as simple as that.
Well, hello to you too. Why is everyone in the after show?
I did say hello.
Hi, John. Happy New Year, mate.
Why is everyone in the after show?
Because it's a good show.
Because it's an after show.
What? Aren't there 2 shows today?
No, tomorrow.
Thursday.
Tomorrow.
So no 2 shows today, all right. Getting gypped.
So, Nathan, what happens when they have to admit the model is wrong and they can't refer to it again?
Oh, they just changed the model. I mean, models can change as easily as a change in a piece of Lego, right? It is just a model. Change one bit, put another bit in. Because it's not where we live. We don't live on a model, so it's very easy to change a model. Reality, on the other hand,
Change a reification fallacy.
Yeah. Obviously, I was about to say, you've got to reify that into the actual existence you experience and pretend that the change you've made in the model is just to match the reality that you're observing, because that makes any difference to the reality you're observing. Well, no, it doesn't.
What'd I miss?
Tim did really well. So, to his credit, Tim did really well. So he came in and answered, at least attempted to, 5 housekeeping questions. Is that right?
Penny?
I think we got 5.
Penny can't put his pants on by himself.
Well, 10 summarised it very well,
let
which
me
I think
guess.
was why it was so well ignored, because of his nice rundown that he was giving.
Let me guess. Star rotation.
Yep.
No? He
Yeah.
didn't bring up
No,
star
I was gonna
rotation?
check him off. I was just
Counterclockwise and clockwise?
No, I was going to check him off. Yes, he used that example. Yes.
Can I take a guess?
Spent 2 hours.
I got here late, so can I take a guess? The Great Salt Lake observation.
Yes. He's been carrying that around for about 20 months.
He always asks me, "Do you want this data?" And we've exchanged emails, and he's still not sent me anything other than that one photo. I still await eagerly, Tim.
Because that one photo proves everything, bro.
Yeah.
Adam, you're just not understanding that.
Yeah, you just you got to not look at it right from the right angle. Not squinting enough. Magic eye.
Yep.
Took 2 hours. Took 2 hours last night on 24/7 explaining to grown adults that counterclockwise and clockwise are not directions, objective directions. 2 hours. That's Timmy's argument. Yeah. I mean, he's had it ever since 2015. Ever since I met him, he had the stupid argument. I must have pummeled it greater than 250 times. But still, come on. Counterclockwise and clockwise. Unbelievable.
A bonus from Rumpus. So back in the day when Rumpus was prevalent here, he would drop in the disclaimer really early on to his argument and then just carry on with verbal diarrhea. Whereas now, that's checked immediately. So in this instance, his rebuttal for Tim Osman assuming global positioning systems reference when making measurements on the salt flats was to say, don't you just accept that global positioning is correct? I'm like, no, that's the point of my argument. He's making the question by automatically assuming a global position when taking his position. So that's the essence of my argument. It's like, yeah, but don't you accept that global positioning's right? It's like, what he's doing is he's forcing exactly my argument onto me in real time. So it's like, great, I've just pointed out that they must beg the question, they must assume their model first, and Rumpus comes along to force that as much as possible. It's like, but he becomes a one-trick pony. That's all he's got. His early disclaimer that he's going to beg the question, and then he's out the running in this show because he just became a one-trick pony, parroted the same thing about 6 times, and it's like, right, is that all you got? Time for you to go then.
Rumpus was here too? Hold on a second.
Yeah, Rumpus was here. He white-knighted for Tim when Tim got his ass handed to him.
He white-knighted Tim. Mr. Second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth. Oh, my God. I wouldn't trust you if you told me the air pressure in your non-container tire. Friggin' classic, man. That I don't know what's worse. Air is not the atmosphere, or the second law doesn't apply to the Earth. I don't know. We ought to put that up for a vote.
Timmy brought up the Walter Bislin calculator. I thought it would be a good time for you to share what you shared with us.
Nah, Walter Bislin, he's a friggin' joke. I pounded him a few years ago on Taboo Conspiracies channel where he deleted the entire thread because I exposed him. As usual, he's a clown.
Yeah, he's off.
Well, everything he said was based on that calculator. So can we use that calculator against him?
Oh, you're trying to provoke me.
I am.
Nope.
Everybody
I'm not
else
doing
does.
it.
Why can't I?
Well, I've put it out a number of times. Well, because it's not a live show. If you had a second show, I'd do it, but I'm not doing it.
How about tomorrow?
Do what?
What do you mean, what?
Do what?
Do what? I got the #1 globe killer. I've been spreading it all around yesterday and last night. It's been hot on the presses. They're finished. Well,
tell me.
They've been finished.
What is it?
They've been finished for like 3 years. But
what is it?
Finish them off.
Again?
Finish them off, Kiwi.
Apparently, Nathan doesn't read Skype messages.
No, he doesn't. No, that ain't happening.
Is this when you went all Brenda with a bit of modus tollens? That one.
Yeah, the modus tollens. Yep, exactly.
No, I read that. We discussed it yesterday.
Did?
Yeah. So after the after show finished, in case you don't remember, I was actually here. I did hang around for as long as I could until the volume got too high that I couldn't make out what you were saying anymore.
Yeah. But I didn't. It was just a generalization. I didn't formulate it like I did.
So let's hear it.
What do you mean, let's hear it?
Let's hear how you formulated it. Why are you dancing around this? I'm very confused.
Are you holding
right.
back for us, John? Are you holding back?
Number one globe
not
killer
holding
on
back.
the number one globe killer channel. Come on, let's hear it.
I'm not holding it back. I put it on Discord like 5,000 times already.
So one more won't hurt.
So, all right, I'll do it because it spins off of Taboo Conspiracies horizon distance, right? It's really easy, and it kills the globe right in its tracks. So, if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then horizon distance measurements must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Just see the Earth curve calculators. When you go in there, they always have the distance to the horizon. Well, I just nicked the damn calculation. So if we got an observer's height at 1 foot, we have video showing the distance to the horizon greater than 9.41 miles. But the maximum distance to the horizon on a sphere at that height is only 1.22 miles. So you can destroy it with modus tollens. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P, then horizon distance measurements must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height, Q. So not Q, the horizon distance is greater than 9.41 miles, therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere.
Excellent.
That's going to leave a mark.
Yeah, that's excellent. Very good. Very good. I like it.
It is. It's over. They're dead. There's no argument against it. None. Zero.
Not only is there no argument against it because it's logically sound, it also highlights inadvertently the hijacking of what you're measuring. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, when he's holding his beach ball, is forcing you, by way of holding that beach ball, into recognizing that there is a physical obstruction on a ball. So in other words, the horizon on a ball is actually a physical edge. It's the edge of the sphere that you're looking over when you're looking at something beyond that edge. Now, in your example, the actual measured position of that physical edge is set in stone.
Yeah.
Therefore, if it's beyond that in terms of your visibility, it can't feasibly be spherical. As demonstrated in your, what would you call it, logical syllogism?
Yeah, modus tollens.
Modus tollens, right. Excellent, I love it. I didn't recognise the beauty of this. You tried to explain this to me just before Ballbusters with Ben's example, and I was like, I don't like it, it's a bit squirrely. But now you put the spit and polish on it, it's absolutely brilliant. So any vague rumblings that I thought it wasn't good, just ignore all those, because that's epic.
It's a good expansion on the question, where's the edge, ballers?
Exactly, Arwin, exactly. Where's the edge? If you're on a ball, the ball's got an edge. That's exactly right. Well, we're not. We're not looking at an edge. We're looking at a horizon, the point where things become too small to see, the point where the sky appears to meet the ground. We're not looking at a ball edge. That's the bottom line here. It's always been about the edge. That's what they've hijacked. Remove perspective and call it an edge.
Yeah. See, the horizon can be closer than that measurement, no problem, and it usually is because of atmosphere, weather, different things. But the important part of this, it can be no more than. See, that's the key part. And when you get something, you see the horizon further than that. The only thing you're left with, the only thing I could think of that they could do, and I spoke about it yesterday, would say that the whole entire horizon is looming.
They do. They do. Yeah. I've said this before and it went over people's heads. I've said this before. No. Ranty brought it up. Oh, it's not here. Bummer. He was pointing. He clocked for him about a month ago. And he was like, in their model, it's all looming. And I was like, yeah, Ranty, it is. He's like, if you go beyond this horizon point, it's all looming. Everything's... I was like, yeah, it is. It's all looming in their model beyond that point. If you,
but it's that bit that it's beyond that point. So up until that leading edge of the sphere, there is no optical effect. Then suddenly,
that's right,
it looms up magically to make it look flat.
It's flat.
Yeah, but it's not that.
Hold on, everyone's getting excited. Hold on. You're getting excited when you say, hold on, and you, Kiwi, hold on. When you say it's all looming, yeah, but the stress being all of it is looming. None of it's where it's supposed to be in their model. It's all technically, not even technically, it is all a mirage beyond that point. Nothing's where it's supposed to be.
It's all one giant, perfectly flat mirage.
That's what Rumpus would call super mega looming.
Yeah.
He says things like
Wrong.
that.
No, just looming.
Wrong.
Just looming.
Wrong. Define looming.
Looming is an atmospheric effect where things are, appear to be above the... Hold on, yeah, it's above the horizon, isn't it?
They got the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
thought about that.
It's not the horizon that looms that defines looming.
No, you're
it's
right.
objects appearing above or below the horizon, not the horizon.
No, you're right. You're absolutely
dead.
right. So, in other words, the looming object, I thought about it because I pictured the, I haven't got it in front of me, but the wiki definition's got a picture next to it. And you've got the boat above the horizon. And the boat is the thing that's looming. Or the building, or the Isle of Man in its entirety, is all looming. But the horizon...
You just don't understand
God,
the
shut
rest of the
up!
looming.
But the horizon itself, the bulge, the physical obstruction of their claimed sphere model, that ain't looming. And that's what Adam just said.
Right. That's not looming. You have to come up with another explanation for that. That's not looming.
So the horizon...
It's not the horizon, it's the objects.
Yeah, the horizon can't be up at that further distance, so your modus tollens still absolutely holds as perfect logic. Because as soon as you start looming up the horizon, what, you're looming up the bulge you're seeing over? That's not possible.
Only if you take it as simple as you should, but with the option of potential fractal
You're
looming
over
or
talking
flat
chocolate.
looming or however kind of looming, it's just like
Arwen, you're
refraction.
over
They
talking
stick
chocolate,
terrestrial
by the
to
Can't hear
it.
chocolate. Maybe
But
it's me.
can't I just
Hold on,
make a
hold on.
point?
There's something going on with Discord. Is someone in Discord talking? Because I couldn't hear him. I just heard Darwin. Is that person talking now? Ugh. Communication.
Yeah, can we get a radio check? Hey, Chocolate, can you hear Arwen? And Arwen, can you hear Chocolate?
Chocolate's on mute.
Yeah,
Not you, Elijah. Are you Chocolate or Arwen?
It was Elijah that was talking, though. Youth had just mistaken him for chocolate.
Oh, God. No.
Well, I couldn't hear Elijah, so I'm going to refresh anyway.
Okay, if I can make a short statement, I like to
Tell you what,
summarize
you're
it
about
as
to piss
the
me off.
horizon is not a geometrical feature, it is a optical phenomena. As basic as that, really.
Yeah, it's not a physical obstruction, it's an optical phenomena. Well said.
Right, but specifically the geometrical aspect. It's not a geometrical feature, it is a purely optical phenomena.
Yeah,
It only can be found in optics.
That's
not an
fine
edge.
for us, Arwen, isn't it? But
It's not an edge.
that still doesn't negate the fact that they have that optical effect, but they've still got a leading edge that they have to deal with that at some point becomes obstructive, yet we're demonstrating that it isn't obstructive visually. But actually, mathematically, it has to be obstructive.
Yeah, it's an edge.
Yeah.
It's a physical edge. Exactly. They're the ones with an edge. That's what it's been about all the time. There's always a reason for the high-level programming. Why do they ridicule us and challenge us for an edge? Because they've got one, and it's a very big problem.
It is the typical 1984 way to, again, try to attack the opponent with what you are doing wrong before they catch on, in order to avoid being attacked.
It's projecting, right?
No, but not just projecting. Projecting is personal psychology. It's an applied tactic to interact, to attack. Attacking is not necessarily projection. Projection can take place in the mind of an individual without them sharing it.
Well, I think Arwen was onto something yesterday in the after show when he said, "Oh, when they get a hold of this, they'll start a new argument with de-looming."
Yeah. De-looming, indeed. And flat looming. I'm calling it flat looming because that is what the concept really is. It is the idea, the concept, the machination-driven concept of the ballers to justify why the entire world optically looks perfectly like a flat plane, and how the presupposed ball is all bent visually into that flat plane. So it is literally, well, it's not technically looming, but it is derived from the real life effect looming, inspired upon it, and then complicated into a giant fractal structure that makes the presupposed globe visually bent perfectly into an actual flat plane. That is flat looming. The mirage
That is,
makes
that
makes the
is
globe look
magic.
like a flat plane.
Sounds like magic.
The fact
Doesn't
that you
sound
can
like
take
reality.
Can't loom the horizon, friends.
Yeah, but the whole thing, everything, just everything, and it is not looming. It is technically not looming. It is just inspired upon the concept of looming. Just like terrestrial fraction is only inspired upon actual optics refraction and really has nothing to do with it mechanically.
You know who else got this quite a while back? Jeranism. So he was explaining it using the water in reference to the horizon and saying that in their model that the entire water line is having to be loomed up and that isn't possible. Now, he wasn't contextualizing it in exactly the same way we are, but essentially he's alluded to this many years ago. In other words, I think this is something that, even if it's on an unconscious level, we intrinsically understand. You know, the physical obstruction that would be presented to us if we were on a sphere is not what we are observing. And the mechanics of being able to observe it the way we observe it is beyond ludicrous.
It's a mechanization.
Okay,
It's
well, this is the
a
conversation
false construct made
that
to
I've been
deceive.
having. Okay, Arwen's over talking Elijah again.
No, he can hear you now. He can hear you. You shut up.
All right, I'll mute.
Hey, Arwen, but no, it's because of Taboo Conspiracy's "Where's Curvature 1 and 2" video that it actually clicked with me. So when you do a quick Google search of, well, how far is the horizon? Obviously, they're telling you how far it is in their model, and it's 2.9 miles. And I'm like, okay, so if you're at an observer height of about 5 feet 7 inches, then it should be like about 3 miles away. So once you start to plug in all of the things that they say you can't see, it breaks everything, because you're like, that doesn't make it. What are you saying? You're saying this thing is supposed to be like 100 and something feet below curvature, and they're like, oh no, the refraction. So it never made any sense to me, and that video really helped me put it together in my mind how BS it was and what they were actually switching the conversation out to be.
Right on.
Well, the fact that QE put the numbers, if your observer height is 1 foot and the distance to the horizon equals greater than 9.41 miles, the distance to the horizon maximum for a sphere is 1.22 miles. We're seeing more.
Right.
The calculator they're using is wrong.
Yeah, they hijacked perspective and called it Earth curve.
Well, the model is wrong then. Right?
They're still having trouble, but they're still having trouble working out.
Miss Astrophysicist could say that very flippantly, right? The model is wrong. So there you go.
Yep.
Model is wrong, guys.
You think we'll have?
But she knows all about exoplanets, though. Sorry, Nathan.
I put the proof in Discord. It's killer.
Yeah, and your star witness is Walter Bislin in the calculator.
I still like to know where they got that 3959 from in the first place.
They pulled it out of their butt.
Yep.
They shouldn't have done it. They made a big mistake. You see, when you lie, right, there is an inconsistency or a number of inconsistencies somewhere in that story. There must be. There has to be, right? So it's just the mission to find it. Right? It's really just that simple.
I don't
We
know.
found it.
I don't know if that's necessarily true though, because the whole thing that they
Really,
built
that's
on
not
is a giant
necessarily true. So if
mathematical
somebody's
structure.
lying, so that you said that's not necessarily true. So
No,
if
but
somebody's
practically.
lying, there's not an inconsistency in the lie. Is that what you're saying?
No, but they can simply claim afterwards that it turned out to be wrong, or just it's all based on math. So what they typically do is just stretch up all the data, and what they put out as absolute fact and hold on to just narrows down the mathematical flexibility they have left.
No, that's
That's
just a
really what practically happens
nah.
to them.
You're describing a web of
No.
lies.
What?
You're describing a web of lies. I call it the heliocentric smear of bullshit. You get found out with an inconsistency and then you change the mathematics, make an alteration and an excuse, the smear of bullshit, to cover it up. Well, that's more accurately or more succinctly described as a web of lies.
Right. It is. It's based on math. That is it's incredible. It's
they'll
like
just
the
say
math.
we
They
forgot
use
to
the
carry
math.
the one.
They
Hold on,
use
QE
the
was in the
math
middle of making
really
a
as
point.
a foundation to
Look,
justify
Owen.
their lies, as in mathematically it's possible. That's their claim. That's a big foundation of the whole spell they're resting on.
Fair enough, but QE was in the middle of a point, so you're saying based on their inconsistencies, but then we got a disagreement about whether or not lies have inconsistencies in them, which they do. We've established that now.
I think I kind of agree with you both, but Arwen's point's kind of additional to it is that, yeah, the lies are there. Yeah, the lies will be found out eventually. But when they do, they're not painted as a lie. They're not attributed as a lie and a falsehood. They're presented as a miscalculation, a bit of human error. We got it wrong. So no blame is associated. So it's not nefarious. Or
Hasn't
it's
it
not
historically
Jesus.
been attributed? That the distance to the sun, for example, how that historically migrated, how it kept on moving and moving. That is kind of that process.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a very basic or early stage.
Yeah,
It's
he
just
made a
getting-
mistake. He didn't just pull the numbers out of his arse and make it up. It's not portrayed like that. He made a miscalculation.
They forgot to
you
carry
know
the
what I mean?
one.
Yeah.
But I think that's the inconsistency you'll find. And then when you nail them on that, then they'll change and say it's a mistake, which is a lie because supposedly math can't lie. So how'd they get it wrong in the first place?
The math doesn't lie. The math is still correct. It's just not representative of reality. That's why they validate the math so much. The maths are still correct. If you go through the maths, it's all balanced. It's all correct. It's just the model of which what it's trying to model isn't reality. So therefore, it's not applicable. Any conclusion that the math gives you.
Exactly. But now that backs up QE because then when you're telling the truth, there won't be an inconsistency ever.
Right. But there will be mistakes. So
no, you can't make a mistake with the truth if
yeah,
it's
you can. Of course you can.
Can I finish?
Sure.
If I see you stepping on the squirrel and I have video and I have 3 other witnesses, that's what everyone attests to. And then you're saying, well, I stepped on the squirrel because I tripped on my other foot. Well, it doesn't change the fact that we have eyewitness testimony and a video of you stepping on
Where did you get that video?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, but if I then try to explain that video mathematically, that the force squashing the squirrel, was still correct in terms of it, in terms of me of the events. However, my mathematics didn't correctly represent the forces applied to the squirrel's head, then the maths would still be wrong. But so you can still be wrong even if you're trying to portray the truth, because not because of intent, but because maths is a descriptive language. It's not reality. All it's trying to do is paint reality by numbers.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G+ panels for making this live and after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!